You know how sometimes one small piece of advice just completely changes everything. For me, this single idea has transformed my relationships with my friends, my family, my coworkers, and especially with my partner. And honestly, I wish someone had told me this years ago. Because when you first fall in love, everything feels so effortless, right? You're giving and receiving attention constantly. You feel seen, valued, cherished like you've finally found your person. But then, time passes, the butterflies fade, routines settle in, and suddenly, what used to feel easy starts to take real effort. We realize that love doesn't just stay, it has to be kept alive. As the philosopher Alain de Botton once said, we know so much about how to fall in love and dangerously little about how to stay in it. So today, I want to share one simple idea, something no one really talks about that can strengthen any relationship in your life. Grab your coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's talk about it. At the heart of every single relationship, whether it's romantic, family, friendship, or even at work, lies one basic human need: to feel seen, heard, and understood. Every single day, we reach out for that connection, sometimes without even realizing it. Psychologists call these little moments bids for connection. A bid can be verbal, like saying, "Wow, look at that sunset." Or it can be nonverbal, like letting out a big sigh, hoping someone will ask, "Are you okay?" And here's the fascinating part. How the people around us respond to those tiny bids for connection literally determines the strength of our relationships over time. It's not about the big romantic gestures. It's about the small, everyday moments that build trust or quietly break it down. This powerful idea comes from Dr. John and Dr. Julie Gottman, two of the most respected relationship researchers in the world. They spent decades studying thousands of couples and found that the way partners respond to each other as bids for connection is one of the strongest predictors of relationship success. They discovered there are three main ways we typically respond to a bid: turning toward, turning away, or turning against. Let's break that down. First up is turning toward. This means acknowledging or engaging with the bid. If I say, "Wow, those flowers are beautiful," and my partner replies, "They are. I love the purple ones," that's turning toward. Or if I sigh after a long day, and my partner asks, "Hey, you okay?" That's also turning toward. It's a small thing, but it communicates, "I see you. You matter to me." Next, there's turning away. This means missing or ignoring the bid. Maybe I say, "Look at those flowers," and he mumbles, "That's nice, honey," without even looking up from his phone. Or I sigh, and he doesn't respond at all, maybe because he's distracted. It's not necessarily cruel, but it's silence. And over time, that silence starts to feel like a huge distance between you. And finally, there's turning against. This is when you reject the bid outright, usually with criticism or frustration. It's like saying, "I've seen better flowers," or snapping, "What's wrong with you now?" Obviously, that hurts. But here's the surprising thing. The research shows that turning away can actually be more damaging in the long run than turning against. Because rejection, while painful, is at least engaged. But indifference, that says, "You're invisible." And that's the kind of quiet disconnection that slowly erodes trust. So, what does the science say? Dr. Gottman followed hundreds of newlywed couples for 6 years. He found that the couples who were still happily married had turned toward each other as bids for connection 86% of the time. The couples who ended up divorced, they only did it 33% of the time. That massive difference is the gap between feeling loved and feeling lonely in a relationship. So here's the truth. Relationships don't fall apart because of one big argument. They fall apart because of the thousands of tiny, missed moments where one person reaches out and the other person doesn't reach back. Now that you know about bids for connection, I promise you'll start seeing them everywhere. It might be your partner saying, "Ugh, what a day," or your friend texting you, "You up?" It could be your coworker showing you a funny meme, or your mom calling just to check in. Each of those is a little invitation to connect. And the more you turn toward them, even in small ways, the stronger your relationships will become. So how do you practice turning toward? Here's something my partner and I started doing that really helps. If one of us feels like the other is distracted or has missed a bid, we simply say, "Hey, I'm making a bid." It sounds a little silly at first, but it works wonders. It snaps us both back into the present moment and reminds us, this is a chance to connect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Even if you're busy, you can still turn toward. You can say something like, I really want to hear about this. Can we talk in 10 minutes? That still counts. You're acknowledging the bid and promising that connection for later. It's never about doing everything right. It's about caring enough to try. The strongest relationships aren't built on grand gestures or constant romance. They're built on hundreds of quiet, almost invisible moments of turning toward each other. When you look up from your phone, when you listen instead of dismiss, when you show curiosity instead of criticism, that's where love lives, in those tiny, ordinary moments. So here's my little challenge to you for this week. Start noticing the bids for connection happening all around you, and see if you can respond just a bit more often, with warmth, with attention, and with care. Because love isn't a one-time feeling. It's a daily choice to turn toward the people who matter most. Now, I would love to hear from you. What's one piece of relationship advice that has really stuck with you or helped you grow? Share it in the comments below. I know everyone would love to read your wisdom. Thanks so much for sharing this moment with me today. I really appreciate you being here. I'll see you in the next video.